I'd like to call this Princeton City Council meeting to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Mabry.
Here.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Here.
McCall. Here. McCransky.
Here. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to change this up just a little bit. We'll wait on public comment. We do have a presentation by our police chief, Tom Kammerer, about CPR. So, Tom, please come forward.
I'm sure everybody can hear me. All right. In 2007, the American Heart Association, along with the American Red Cross and the National Safety Council, worked to create the National CPR and AED Awareness Week. On December 13th of 2007, Congress unanimously approved the resolution. Now, June 1st through 7th each year is National CPR and AED Awareness Week, spotlighting how lives can be saved if more Americans know CPR and how to use an AED. Did you know that about 70% of out-of-hospital cardiac arrests happen in homes? If you're called to give CPR in an emergency, you will most likely be trying to save the life of someone you love. Be the difference for your parent, spouse, friend, or child. What if it were them? On February 19th of this year, that question became a reality for a student from Princeton High School. While hanging out with a friend at the Hennepin Canal, Justin DePaul found out very quickly the value of knowing CPR. His friend was injured, unconscious, and floating in the canal. Justin jumped into the water, pulled him out, and immediately began performing CPR. He was able to successfully revive his friend. Due to Justin's quick actions and performance under stress, his friend is here with us tonight. Justin, along with all the other students in Katie Saylor's health class, were taught CPR at Princeton High School. She is also here with us tonight and very deserving of recognition for providing this life-saving knowledge to our children. I'm sure we have all heard our kids grumbling about why they need to learn certain things in school, typically stating, "I'm never going to need to know this again." Well, in this case, her instruction resonated with at least one student. Because of his actions, another PHS student was saved. I would like to have Princeton High School teacher Katie Saylor and Princeton High School student Justin DePaul please come up and join me to accept recognition for their great work.
Stand for the camera there.
And now Lori Compton from the Red Cross would like to say a few words.
Chief, thank you. You spoke very well. I just have a few more comments I'd like to present when it comes to preparedness. Accidents happen. That is why it's so critical to be prepared. To help yourself, your family, your neighbors, and in this case, a friend. This is why tonight we are here to make aware how important it is to be prepared. The Red Cross provides life-saving courses where people learn to prevent, respond, and teach life-saving skills to an average of more than 7 million people a year. That's in businesses, schools like PHS, and other communities. Red Cross encourages everyone to learn first aid, CPR, and how to use an AED so that they'll have the knowledge and confidence to act in emergency and help save lives such as Justin did. Every second counts in an emergency, so people need to know what to do until medical help arrives. You can be just like Justin and train for those moments that matter. And you can do this by going on redcross.org or calling 1-800-RED-CROSS, and they will let you know where in the area there's a local class going on. It's very important. You never think it's going to happen to you, but you just want to be prepared in case it is. For tonight, I do have a instructor appreciation for certificate here for Katie Saylor, and we have nominated Justin for a National Life Saving Award. So we're in the process of getting all that information gathered, and that will be presented at another time. So thank you very much, Justin.
Thank you very much, Tom, and thank you very much, Mrs. Compton. I'd like to do this. There's only one better way to say thank you than to give Justin and Ms. Saylor a standing ovation. Let's do that, please. A little housekeeping here. If you'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting, we're glad to have you. If you want to speak out, we're not offended by that. But again, our meeting will probably be another half an hour long, so we're never offended. If you get bored, you want to just leave, that's fine. And
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Now you got to take the chair back.
Okay, so we're never offended when people leave early. We're just glad we have people show up tonight. So we're going to go ahead now. We're going to go to public comment. The public comment is given at the beginning of the meeting, and public comment is given at the end of the meeting. So you're entitled to speak, or we're glad to have you speak either before or after or both. So if there's anyone here this evening who'd like to speak about any issues, all they have to do is step up to the microphone and just give their name, and then feel free to address the council, please.
Hello, I'm Dr. Julie Nelson. Thank you for your time, everyone. I really appreciate it. I've lived on South Main Street in Princeton for 36 years now, and I have an issue in my residential area that I'm looking to you to help me with. I first want you to know that I am an educator. I respect the First Amendment and the right of freedom of speech. I agree with supporting God, family, country, and the military forces, and what I'm asking for has got nothing to do with those topics. My concern is that some of those signs incite people to honk their horn as they drive past our homes. And of course, in the last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, who wouldn't honk for God, country, and the military forces? It's hard to drive by and not register your support. But this support has been going on for 3 years now. And 3 years ago, we built a screened-in porch out the back of our house so that we could enjoy evenings out there. But we don't. And we don't use it very much because every weekend, as people go by, they honk. And on the holidays, they honk even more. So what I'm asking, my understanding is, having consulted the police and the city, is that we do have restrictions on volume of sound in the city, and we also have a traffic violation if you are honking for no reason. So that would make the drivers guilty of honking for not a safety reason. So what I'm asking the council, please, to consider a new ordinance that perhaps forbids people inciting passing traffic to honk in a residential area. If this was happening on Main Street outside a store, I don't know how long the store owners would endure that. Certainly not 3 years. So that is my request, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nelson. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak, whether it be on that topic or anything else? And again, you have a second opportunity to speak towards the end of the meeting. So thank you very much. With that said, we're going to go ahead to the minutes from the regular council meeting. Approval of that, please.
I move that we approve the minutes from our regular council meeting on May 15, 2023.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall. McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye. And we'll go to invoices now with Pete Nelson.
For this period in the Department of Accounts and Finances, we have invoices totaling $55,660.70. In the Department of Streets and Public Improvements, we have invoices totaling $86,175.28. In the Department of Public Safety, we have invoices totaling $179,770.26. And in the Department of Public Property and Utilities, we have invoices totaling $246,940.84, for a grand total of $568,547.08. Mayor, all council members present have confirmed their reviews of all invoices and now are submitted for disposition.
I move that we approve the invoices as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the council? Seeing none, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall. McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Now we'll go to ordinance 023-008.
Next on the agenda is ordinance O-23-008, amending the city motor vehicle code to permit limited uses of non-highway vehicles on city streets. This is the second and final reading. Mayor, all council members have reviewed this ordinance and it is submitted for disposition.
I move that we approve ordinance O-23-008.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the council or from Teresa? Please.
Just one main thing here, or two actually. In the ordinance, you do see at the beginning, as I noted with you guys last week, we did push this to August 1 just for the main purpose of we have to, if this is to go through, we have to order plates and get ready for the inspection process and make sure everybody's on the same page. One other thing I do want to note, I had a chat with Tammy from the Park District. I think we're okay with the way it's worded under it's under L, section B, L. Non-highway vehicles are also not allowed to be driven in any cemetery or city-designated park space within the city of Princeton. We just want to make sure it's very clear that that does include city-county park. So we will make sure it's posted out there that other Park District property, you can have them in the driveways and the parking lots and stuff as marked. But I keep wanting to say city-county park, they are not allowed out there. Well, we don't know. You can't technically get out there anyways, but so that's a red flag if they are out there. So just I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. We think I talked with Mr. Isaacson here before the meeting. We're okay with the way it's written. We just need to make sure it's clear. So if there's any questions on that.
I want to say it's as long as that everything's pretty clear and actually in black and white.
I did have one quick discussion with Mike too last week. I think we can handle this as we see how this rolls out. There's one road that is actually posted at a 40 mile per hour. If the speed limit was lower, it would allow access to a couple other businesses on the north side. So we'll see how things go. And if that's something, we'll talk with Clint and obviously Chief Camera and see if that's something we can consider. It is still a heavy truck route, so we do need to just make sure we're careful with that. So we'll see how this goes, though, as it rolls out.
Very good. Any other comments from the council? Seeing none, we're going to make a vote on that. Go ahead. Pete.
Councilmember Newman.
No.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall. McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you. Now we're going to go to the city manager report. Teresa?
Just to make clear on that last ordinance, that does not mean start driving them tomorrow. No, we have to roll this out. We'll make sure that the information's out there for everybody, that everything's kind of lined up and clear. We've got a couple other communities that we can mirror exactly the way they rolled out their programs. So if we do it right, I think we'll be okay. But just don't start driving them tomorrow. Yeah, not yet. But if you want to go out and buy them, you can go out and buy your UTVs and your golf carts. In your report, you have the fire pension report for March and the police for April. Obviously, it's their last fiscal year still. So with the fire pension, they're sitting at a net position of about $8.8 million and police at about $10.5 million. Any questions on any of that? The only other thing I guess I'd be happy to announce with Quint's department is the air burner is on its way. So with the last storms that we've had significant, you've got piles of brush out there already to prevent that burning that we've been experiencing the last 10 years, 5 to 10 years? 50. We hope that this is going to be a good solution for that, but they've been doing some testing with it, which is good, and it's coming up from Florida.
Yeah,
where it's coming from.
Here Thursday.
So hopefully Thursday we'll get that rolling. I hope that's the answer to a lot of the concerns we've had, so we don't have to hear those concerns anymore. So.
Teresa, on the pension funds, are we comfortable with our contributions?
Yes.
Are they at a place?
Yes, we are very comfortable. Actually, you remember the last levies, we levied the fullest.
Yeah.
So we're hindering close to the 70%, which is good. I always double check that with Lauterbach and make sure that we're where we need to be, and we're actually doing very well. So.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Concerning the air burner, I want to commend the previous council, that is you for council members, with the previous mayor, Joel Quirm. They got the ball rolling on that, and I want to commend that council for doing that about the air burner. So that's a big plus. That's going to solve a lot of challenges, I believe. Thank you, Teresa. So now we're going to have the mayor's report. I'm going to step down here into the audience for just a moment. Okay, I think we're good to go. We have a couple things this evening I'd like to talk about as the mayor. First off, I want to commend the Princeton Rotary Club. If you had a chance to take in Shrimp Fest on Saturday, what a tremendous event. The Rotary they're the heavy lifters as far as the community organizations, followed by the Lions Club. I think they do a great job too. But I just want to commend the Rotary Club. Very nicely done. The Princeton Community Band, it was Sunday evening, and that was held at the Soldiers and Sailors Park. And our very own Victoria Yepsen, she had, I call it two solos. She sang the national anthem, and then she did a great job with Somewhere Over the Rainbow. There's a lot of quality talent in your voice there, so I just want to mention that. Very nice.
Encore tonight? Encore?
Well, we may have her do the national anthem sometime. That would be great. So very well blessed to hear that. And then finally, the farmers market is in full swing. There's been 2 Saturdays of that, and the veggies are coming in. And so don't forget the farmers market. That's held on Saturday mornings about 8:30 to noon. And now we're going to move on to Positively Princeton, the little segment where we started this, where nonprofits or businesses can come and speak about what they've got going on, and it's all very positive. Sometimes we're in government, we're always trying to maybe grab the next big thing, but we forget about what's currently in our community that are assets. This evening we're going to have 2 businesses speak. The first one's going to be Darren Schaefer. He's the general manager for a kind of, I call it, quiet little company. They're out in the original industrial park, so you got to jump across the interstate and then immediately take a left and go back in there. There's a couple of businesses that are truck related. There's Pioneer Seed Corn, and there's a few other businesses. But by and large, the bulk of those buildings out there are occupied by Princeton Flighting Corporation and their entities. So we're going to have Darren Schaefer come up and speak and educate us about express flighting. Please, Darren. Sit next to you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. As we'll make the best of this. I guess we started in '91. We decided to move from Nebraska. We had a plant that does a similar amount of business that we do, but we were buying buying steel from out east in the Indiana, Ohio area, shipping it to Nebraska, producing the material, and shipping it back here, which didn't make a lot of sense over the time, so we decided, let's go east. So we ended up in Princeton with the help of John Henning. If you guys remember John Henning, he was very instrumental in getting our company here. We've been on a pretty good growth since we hit the ground, and we're growing. We started with about 10,000 square feet, and we moved to roughly 50,000 square feet at the Princeton Fighting Facility. And we started a sectional facility in '99, which was a different thing for us, same thing, flighting, but made differently. Mark Kane took over that management position and has done a great job with it. He's 70,000 square feet now, so he's really expanding, and we've got an R&D plant, that we do our own research and development and tooling and die work, and so we're moving up, and we're always expanding, always looking for something new, and I guess that's the gist of the business. That's what makes it exciting to go to work every day, because there's always something more to do with than what we're doing. Flighting is basically the same thing, only in thousands of different sizes, shapes, and some come from plate, some come from bar stock, some straight from helicoid coil, So I guess what I'm happiest about is Princeton was a great fit for us because we weren't landing in Chicago. We weren't regulated to death. We came to an area that's much like our own in Nebraska, so it really was a perfect fit, and it has been for all these years. So I'm tickled to be here, and we've got great people, truly have really great employees that have been with us for some over 30 years. So we really, once we get somebody that we really care for, and they care for us, we never let them go. We hang on to them like crazy. So I don't know. I guess I'm proud to be here in Princeton, and love the city's attitude about things. And we are kind of hidden back in the hole, and we bought a couple more lots out there a couple years ago. So always looking to expand, and we're looking to build again if people come through for us. They'll probably make it so small with just, No, it'll be good regardless, because we're, like I said, we're going to keep going. Our sectional plant has plenty of room to grow, so that's what we do. We grow, and we do well too. And like I said, it's really the people around that support us, and certainly the city too. So we thank everybody, and I guess I'm done.
Appreciate your investment in the community, so thank you.
Yes, it's been good.
Oh yeah, if you get a chance to drive out, it's interesting. Their buildings are all clean and neat, and they're landscaped. They like to put trees around their buildings, and I would say, do you employ in the 30 range people? 30?
Yeah, we've got 14 at our facility, basically 20 over at the sectional plant, but we're continually growing. It doesn't take a ton of people, but it takes good people, and I think that's where we're at. We've got really good people.
That's great. And product made in the United States by Americans. Good for you.
100%.
Love it. Love it. The second business that's here this evening is a business that I've known for, I think I was out there 40 years ago picking strawberries. It was a business that was started by Rich and Kathy Hornbaker, and representing Hornbaker Gardens tonight is Rich is here, and his daughter Molly Hornbaker Blog, and they have Rich has a son David that couldn't be here tonight. They're going to speak tonight about Hornbaker Gardens, and also about the barn and event center and how that impacts our community. So we're glad to have both of you. If you want to both come up, that'd be great. Please.
Good evening. We started Hornbaker Gardens in 1987, so that's 36 years ago. This is our 37th year in the business, which is a long time for an independent garden center to be and remain in business. We started out thinking we'd be a wholesale supplier of perennials to other greenhouses and grocery stores and garden centers, but very quickly got into the retail business, and for the last 31 years we've been virtually strictly a retail business. We're considered a destination garden center because people come from a distance to find us and shop and enjoy the gardens. Over the years, we've developed into not just a garden center, but a botanical garden and arboretum. So people come to see both the gardens and to shop, especially for hospice, which is sort of the plant that put us on the map. People come from a distance to find a place that sells 500 different varieties of hospice. We employ around 20 people on a seasonal basis at the garden center. Many of them work around 8 months a year, some of them less, some of them part-time. But the business keeps growing. I know back in the early days, back before the internet was the main place to get your information, the Chamber of Commerce told me that the two businesses that they got the most phone calls about were the China Shop and the Hostafar. People calling, of course, about Hoffman's and Hornbaker Gardens. I'm lucky enough to have Molly here and my son David take over the business as I slip into retirement. So it looks like the business should carry on for quite a while. We do promote Princeton in our newsletters and in our on our website. We figure the more reasons that people have to come to Princeton, the more apt they are to come to Princeton and visit Hornbaker Gardens and the shops in town. So we like to see Princeton develop. We love seeing some of the new shops that have developed over the last few years, giving people another reason to come to Princeton. Molly's going to talk a little bit about the barn.
We decided, as a means of growing our business, when my brother and I decided that we were going to be involved in our family business, we started thinking about how we were going to grow, since we had 3 families to support instead of one. And one idea that had come to mind was that we could start hosting weddings out there. We've had a number of people ask about having a garden type of wedding, and we had the location to do that, but we didn't really have a facility. So we started plans, and in 2015 opened up the barn at Hornbaker Gardens, which is our event center that can seat up to 350 people indoors. It's a facility that's open year-round. So we can host weddings in the wintertime, although our peak season is kind of mirrors our garden center season, like that May through October and November time frame. Our first few years, we had been, managing to host 50 or so weddings a year. And then when COVID hit, we ended up closing the barn for about a year and a half, not able to host those large gatherings. And then since reopening after COVID here, we've seen a boost in the number of weddings that we've had. Last year we hit a record year and have topped that one. This year we have over 70 weddings happening here this year. And, they probably average at least 200 people, and those people are coming into our community, a lot of them staying in hotels or Airbnbs in Princeton here. We always say we wish there was another hotel like the American we could send people to, because often we'll have more than one wedding in a weekend, and our hotel, the American here in town, is booked up, and we send a lot of people to hotels in Peru. So that's certainly something we'd love to see happen in Princeton down the road. We employ a number of part-time bussers and bartenders at the barn, as well as 2 full-time event coordinators. And the barn has just been a really great complement to our garden center because we were already building and maintaining a beautiful space for our garden center customers to enjoy walking around the grounds. And so while we're maintaining that, we have a space that our wedding couples and guests have a beautiful space for their ceremony, as well as a picturesque place for their photos and things like that. As Dad was saying, we support as much as we can in Princeton. We provide all of our wedding couples with vendor information, from DJs to caterers, dessert places, photographers, videographers, transportation, linens, florists, and the list goes on of people that we're recommending here as local as we can for them to source what they need for their events. And a lot of people coming from, we do have some local weddings, but they're also traveling from quite a distance just as they do the garden center. So a number of weddings from the Chicagoland area coming into our community and spending the night and eating in our restaurants and enjoying Princeton as well as Hornbaker Gardens. So thank you, Ray, for having us.
Great. What a success story. Thank you for coming. The business side of the house would be with Victoria as our tourism director. She obviously is going to continue to work with the Hornbakers and intermesh as much as we can. And from the nuts and bolts of it, every time a person comes to Princeton and spends the night in a hotel, we have a 5% motel tax, so we appreciate that. If they stay here for an evening, that's money that goes right back into tourism to support different events that we have in the community. So it's a win-win. So we appreciate the Hornbakers. We really do. What an asset to Princeton. Well, that's going to wrap up my Positive Princeton for this evening. And I encourage the council members, if you've got some business or a nonprofit that would like to come speak, we'd love to have them come. I learned some things tonight about both of our entities over here. So I'll jump back over to my position here as mayor. Okay, we're to old business. Is there any old business for the council?
I've got an observation, if I can. It's something that I've been thinking about for the last, maybe a month or two. And it kind of came to the surface because of the UTV ordinance that we just passed tonight. As you all know, I'm not in favor of the ordinance. I have feelings that it's going to be disruptive to the community, and some of the folks that have approached me in support of rejecting this ordinance have expressed concern as well about having them share the road with regular folks in their automobiles. But what I guess has been eating at me is we pass an ordinance so some people can scoot around in UTVs in town, but we rejected an ordinance a couple of months ago to put a solar farm in Princeton that would have been beneficial to the entire community. I don't expect any comments from you guys. I just wanted to share what's going through my head and wonder if we need to refocus on what is really critical and important to the community first and deal with other things less important down the road sometimes. That's all I've got.
Sure, and I certainly can respect that, Jerry. It's interesting, I had a meeting with Jeff Mangrich, our superintendent of electric today, and we actually went out, I'm a visual person, we went out to the alternate site for the solar farm, which is, we call it the transfer station. And we had a nice discussion about that, because at one point it was brought up that the alternate location might be more cost prohibitive to bring new lines in or update the heavier lines, electric lines in to service it. But Jeff made it very clear that the lines that are currently there can service up to 3 megawatts. And to refresh your memory, the other location was going to be a 1 megawatt facility. So we are in discussions, and I had asked Jeff Mangrich if he would put together a summary letter explaining what's going on with solar. It was very interesting in my conversation with him, and you council members will get a summary letter going through Teresa here. I've asked Jeff for that, and Teresa and I will be talking about that. But there was the IMEA offered the opportunity to partner with 3 communities in Illinois, Princeton being one of them. And the other 2 communities at this point, and it's not official, but those projects may be scrubbed because the gentleman or the company that was going to be partnering with the IMEA to bring these solar farms into these small communities has wanted to change the terms because of various reasons of the contract. So Princeton's did not get fulfilled because we had a discussion by the council as what was the best location. The other two communities, there was no opposition from their council, but those are not appearing to be filled, and Jeff will have more information for us on that. So we are trying to move forward, Jerry, in a positive way, and we're trying to sort through, what is the best location for that solar farm, which I feel, and many of the council members did, that there was an alternate location that out of the transfer station that does not have any city water or city sewer, and what better place to put a solar farm than in a piece of property that is not developed fully compared to a property that is fully developed and waiting for potential business. So there's more information about the solar farm that will be coming out to the public, and we're excited about moving forward. So Jerry, I appreciate that. We understand, and I agree. Tom Cameron, our police chief, he's got plenty on his plate right now with enforcement. I would just go back and say, a 16-year-old that gets his driver's license, him or her, they can get on a little scooter, and they are not required in Illinois to wear a helmet. So they can get on a moped, and they can travel, zip around any city street, as well as any highway in the city limits of Princeton legally. And so I say that a UTV with SMD signs, properly regulated, is far safer than a person on a scooter. When I watch the group come through on Saturdays and Sundays on their Harley Davidsons, and I think cycle style is a great thing, but when they roll through the stoplights or stop signs as a mass group, I think, man, talk about possible accidents to happen with, basically, we're glad to have those folks in our community. We can't control that they don't wear a helmet, things like that. So appreciate your comments, Jerry. I do respect that. I'm excited about the Jeff Mangers is going to be giving a summary letter to the council members explaining what's going on with the solar. And I think that will be helpful to all of us. So we appreciate the big picture.
I'd just like to say that I agree with you there, and I wanted to be clear that I'm not against solar farms at all. I'm just against the location. So I'm fully on a solar farm. I just thought the location was the wrong one.
Agreed. Thank you. And good dialogue. A couple things on old business. I'm having a meeting tomorrow with the folks from Sister's Ice Cream Shop about a little bit of an idea we have about a wrought iron railing that could go up along between the alley and their building, and I'll be talking to the council about that. And then we had a consensus to move forward with starting our meetings at 6 o'clock, and Teresa and Pete are going to work on an ordinance to get that in place. So within hopefully 30 to 45 days, we'll be starting our meetings just a little earlier and get people home a little earlier that have been here all day on the City Hall. Okay, no old business other than that. Is there any new business from the council? Okay, and again, public comment. Is there anybody who'd like to have any comment at all? Feel free to come up to the mic and we'd be glad to listen. Okay, very good. I'd like to make a motion then that we go ahead and adjourn this meeting for the evening. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jerry. Go for it. I apologize. I got too carried away.
That's okay. I move that we adjourn our regular meeting this evening and reconvene for our next City Council meeting on Monday, June 19th, 2023, 7 o'clock at City Hall.
There we go. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mayor.
Sorry. Aye. This meeting is adjourned.
Great. 8 years. 8 years.
Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you.